Today we're going to be going over some fantastic fragrances that you can get for next to nothing. Some for spring, some for winter, some for fall, some for summer. We've got a little bit of everything here. Kind of more trying to favor the warmer weather because that's what a lot of us are moving into. But there's a variety pack here. I've been trying to do more videos on affordable fragrances just because really I think we've all kind of taken a step back and had a look at the current landscape, which is just everything's really expensive. I mean, retail prices on these new scents are out of control. $150, $170 plus dollars for a, sometimes a 100 ml, other times could be even a 50 or 60 or 75 ml bottle. Things are pretty pricey. Luckily, there is still a fantastic selection of affordable scents out there. Some of these are maybe different than what you would ever think of. Not ones you see every day all the time, and still going to be very affordable. And what is affordable? I'm basically shooting for $40 or less on discounters, so I will link everything down below so you can get these at, affordable prices. This first one is Baldessarini Ambre. So it's got amber, oak, leather, and whiskey. You don't see this all that often. Typically, your more affordable, cheaper scents are going to be fresher leaning. Obviously, not always the case. There are plenty that are not. But generally, that is the case, okay? This one is not really. You saw the notes there, and when you smell this one, it's also kind of holding up its end of the bargain there with those advertised notes. You do pick up on them. Now, when you take a look at that note breakdown and you have that idea in your head of what this smells like, this versus, let's say, it coming from a more prestigious, more expensive brand or niche brand, there is a difference. This one doesn't have the same level of complexity that other scents that are more expensive would have with notes like that. This is still relatively kind of tame, kind of dialed back, but it's a really, really solid take on that style of scent for an affordable price. So I just don't want to mislead anybody here. You see those notes and you might think it's going to be a super rich, heavy, potent, strong kind of bourbon vanilla type of scent. It's got some of that going on. It just isn't to the extreme that you might expect. But again, talking about price point here, this stuff is great, and there aren't too many out there that do this type of thing at this price point, which is why I like it, and ultimately why I think it's a nice little pickup if you're on a budget. Kind of as an aside, but the bottle is super high quality. Real nice, heavy, thick glass, heavy duty. That adds to the premium feel as well for a low cost. This next one's going to be more spring and summer leaning. Another nice cheapie here from a brand that just doesn't get a whole lot of recognition. When you think of cheapies and affordable scents, you might think of Calvin Klein and, Tommy Bahama and things like that. All great scents, but this is from Vince Camuto. It is Eterno. You just don't hear about this brand all that often, at least in the world of fragrances. I know as far as clothing goes, I think they're probably pretty popular, but not so much when it comes to cologne. So it's got mint, saffron, and cedarwood. It smells really nice, really fresh, uplifting, green, minty, of course. You would kind of expect that, and it does ring true. It smells awesome, real nice and refreshing, bright, uplifting. This is perfect for summertime. You do get just a little bit of a woody undertone, bit of a muskiness too. Some notes to kind of offset the brightness, to give it a bit more depth and a bit more rigidity, so to speak. Otherwise, if it was just all top notes and that was it, it would be pretty fleeting. Not the case here. This one does actually stick around for a good little while, and that's something that might come as a surprise to you considering the price point, because a lot of times scents in this price point might not last the longest. Vince Camuto has some great scents, and this is one of them. They've got a few others that I really like that are more fall and winter leaning, but I wanted to choose this one since we're moving into the warmer time of the year. So I just brought up Tommy Bahama a second ago. We're gonna go for one of their scents. They don't really release near as many as a lot of other brands do. I mean, just take a look at Calvin Klein, like I said. A couple of new releases per year, and they've been doing that for years at this point. Not so much Tommy Bahama, but the ones that they do have are exceptional for the price. This one is St. Kitts. This one's got starfruit, orange, driftwood. It's beachy, summery, fresh, uplifting. I'm a huge fan of St. Bart's as well. In fact, that would probably be my favorite from the brand. I featured it quite a bit, wanted to toss something in different. The other thing is, St. Bart's, it's not going to be for everybody either. It is a very strong tequila salt-based scent. And when I'm saying you can smell the salt in it, you can. You know, that sounds weird, especially people who aren't really used to diving headfirst into colognes and really trying to figure out the notes and all the different kind of compounds and things like that, but you really do pick up on that saltiness there, and not everybody's going to like that or want to smell like that. I think St. Kitts is a much safer option overall, just because it doesn't really have any of that at all. It doesn't have any tequila booziness either. It's just fresh, fruity, uplifting. The driftwood kind of gives off this musky, mature, woody smell. It's a really, really nice blend, and it's about $20, okay? Now, keep in mind, it's an eau de cologne, pretty weak. That's the main drawback with these. But at this price point, it's really hard to get too upset about. Spray it on heavier or just choose something else if that's going to be, you know, a major issue. But I like to use this one for times where I only need a couple hours performance anyway. Go for Ferragamo Free Time. Got lemon, ginger, pink pepper, and vetiver. It's just really, really solid. I'm a big fan of F Black, and that one is very, very popular. I'm sure you guys, some of you who've been in the community for a while, remember the hype behind F Black. At the time, it was 20 bucks, 100 ml. Price has creeped up a little bit. This one is cheaper than F Black by some degree as well, so that's, you know, something to consider there. But it's nothing to write home about. I'll say that. It's not mind blowing. It's not crazy unique, but also it's kind of hard to dislike. I mean, it's not something that you're going to fall in love with in terms of, oh, this is so new, so exciting. But when you smell it, it's kind of like, yeah, it smells clean, it smells fresh, it smells pleasant. This will work for day-to-day tasks or really anything, anytime, essentially. More so summer leaning, but it'll work. It's a great signature scent. Sometimes that's what people want, you know, and it's all about personal preference. You know, you can really use a scent to express yourself in a unique way if you wanted to, or you could just have it be something to help you kind of smell clean and fresh when you want to, and that's kind of what this one does. Choo Man Ice is up next. This one's pretty popular because of the comparisons to Dior Homme Cologne, and they do ring true. And the reason why this got so popular, because of it being similar to Dior Homme Cologne, is because Dior Homme Cologne is much more expensive. It's more than double the price of this. You know, this is, I think, $30, $35, and Dior Homme Cologne is up over $100. So huge difference in price there. And the other thing is, you know, Dior Homme Cologne itself isn't the best performer either, so some people have trouble justifying purchasing that scent, and instead they go for something more affordable, which is a great option as well. What I do find, though, is that this one has just a little bit more of a woodiness. In fact, it's labeled a citrus aromatic woody. So they do have musk and patchouli in here, cedar wood up top, which is kind of interesting, vetiver. You know, really none of the notes are all that similar to Dior Homme Cologne. You know, that one uses musk and citrus, basically, and that's it. There's a bit more to be said about this, but ultimately they are still very, very similar. And obviously Dior Homme Cologne came first, so that one kind of gets credit, but also, you know, a lot of other things kind of smell similar to it as well. Chanel Allure Homme Sport Cologne, and that one might be a toss-up. I actually can't remember which one of those two came first, but they are very similar as well. Nice pressurized atomizer on this Jimmy Choo. I mean, nothing to hate at all. Smells wonderful. That opening, nice, bright, crisp. That is perfect for a hot summer day. This is, it's one of the best cheap summer scents you can get. Okay, let's go for a classic. Original Penguin Premium Blend. Going all the way back to the beginnings, to the roots of my channel. I remember finding this stuff and being just thrilled because it was obviously a blind buy. The stuff is cheap. It's 20 bucks. And it turned out to be so good. Real nice minty kind of mojito smell. The glass, that's the thing that sold me. Look at that. Frosted, yes, but you got this much down here that's just unused, pure glass. The whole thing is heavy. I don't know if you can hear it. I mean, that is really, really impressive presentation for essentially a dirt cheap price, or at least it was back when I bought it. Still should be pretty cheap now. Minty, citrusy, fresh, and musky. That's it. That's really all you need to know. Similar smelling maybe to a Y genre of scents. I would say yes. It definitely didn't pave its own road here. It's kind of something that you feel like you've smelled before for sure. But at this price point, it is hard to beat. It is a great little cheapie, a nice little travel scent. You know, you might not want to take the whole bottle with you on the plane. You could decant it, or if you're just driving, toss it in your backpack or something. But man, this stuff is great. Let's go for Mont Blanc Legend Night. It's an eau de parfum. This stuff is actually really solid. This one's got apple, vanilla, ambroxan. Nice sweet take on the Legend DNA. You know, Legend Spirit would be a great option for summer, kind of an Invictus Aqua smell. But we've done quite a bit of summer already, and I just wanted to throw in something that's a little bit different. Legend Night, it's not unheard of. You know, you've definitely seen this one around, and it's been around for a while. But it's nowhere near as popular as Legend Spirit, or even, I don't know, a few of the other Legends and just other Mont Blancs in general. You don't really hear about it, but I'll tell you, real nice warm spice, almost a cardamom La Nuit de l'Homme spice off the opening, and then it goes in its own way. So I am not saying this is a La Nuit de l'Homme clone or something that even really smells like it, but that type of spice off the opening, it reminds me of that type of cardamom spice used in La Nuit de l'Homme a little bit. Really, really nice. Definitely wakes you up and gets your attention. So because of that, this is a big head turner as well. When you walk by, you know, people are going to notice. And in typical Mont Blanc Legend fashion, it's affordable. I don't know, probably $30 to $40 for this, maybe $45. I don't know, somewhere around in there. I'm sure prices probably worked its way down a lot compared to when I first got it. There's nothing wrong with this stuff. It smells great. A lot better than you might expect. Okay, we're gonna finish this off with a Versace, because yes, some Versace scents you can get for a really low price. And this is one of them. It's Eau Fraiche, or Man Eau Fraiche, really. This one might be stretching our budget a little bit, depending on if you get 50 or 100 ml. I was trying to shoot for under 40 bucks. You might be looking at 42, 45 for 100 ml, okay? 50 ml, you could get well below that, but I think most can stretch their budget a little bit to work this one in. This stuff, you know, is ultra high quality, and it's crazy to think that something this affordable can be as high quality as it is, but I still remember getting this and having it be one of my first fragrances ever, and being impressed with how good it smelled for how little I paid for it, because I was looking at everything else, doing my research before I started buying, and everything else was so much more expensive. And then after I started to accumulate more and more scents, I would still revisit this and just be impressed with how well it holds up compared to other more expensive designer scents. Starfruit, musk, bergamot, lemon scent. Those notes kind of sound similar to some other things in here, I understand that, but it still is kind of its own little thing as well. Could share some similarities with St. Kitts, maybe, but again, some differences too. Smooth, high quality, not outrageous performance by any means. It is an eau de toilette, but it also does work good enough as well. It's a 5-6 hour performer. I rarely had performance issues with this one. I was wearing it back in. Definitely check it out. Definitely pick up a bottle of Man Eau Fraiche. The bottle is cool. You know, I like the light blue, but it's very indicative of what you're in for as far as a nice, uplifting, musky, citrusy summer scent. This stuff is great. It's pretty much a no-brainer. You're not going to offend anybody with this. Alrighty, guys, that's going to do it for me. Some cheap fragrances that smell incredible. These are really good. They might impress you with how good they are for the price. I'll link them all down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.